Howdy folks, Keywii here, and welcome back to Suzerain, a safe space in which to be awesome, where, so it's been a little bit of time since I last touched this game. It's been, let's say, about a month, give or take. So, you know, things are going on. I'm glad I kept these notes, because I just spent the last maybe 2-3 minutes going over them, and oh boy, are they useful. Fucking homeless OMFG! But yeah, no, just I gotta keep track of these notes, you know. I gotta keep track of them. So, we're still in chapter 1, but there's a lot going on here. There's a lot going on. So, I don't know where to begin, so I'm just gonna jump right in with these news reports. Read the report from Agnolia. So, Angola. So I'm thinking, you know, it's a very because what we just had was like what was the assassination, right? Anyway, so I'm just gonna read this. Leader of Agnolia has diplomatically critiqued the imbalance of trade between our countries. Concerns were raised over how much more Sordland profits from net trade in comparison to Agnolia. Prime Minister Merton von Huerten, gotta stop with those multi-letters, requests a fair reevaluation of existing treaties in future negotiations. That sucks. Let's see here. Economic plan. Planned economy. Agnolia, let's see here. Angland. Oh, right, those are just my regions. Alright, so let's get some, you know, some friggin' multi-country stuff going on here. So, Agnolia wants more from trade deal. Okay. What else we got going on with the other countries? We got one thing. We got one more thing here. So what do we got here in Welland? Read the report from Welland. Smolak warns traders. Oh, that doesn't sound good. The latest diplomatic message from the leader of Welland warned us regarding a pathway from the mountains of Bergia. Okay. That allowed traders of the state escaping into Sordland. President Victor Smolak has demanded that the border security be increased. He also sent his best wishes about handling the protests in Sordland. Okay, so you're for us here, and you want us to have stronger borders so that your traders can't come into our country, which is interesting, I guess. Welland wants stronger border. Alright. What do we got going on in Suzerain in Bergia? What do we got going on in Bergia here? I don't know what we got going on in Bergia. It's not England poor. Eastern Mercopa economic plan. Alright, yeah, I don't have any specifics, just city stuff. So we ain't got nothing here yet, so let's take a look. Report from Suzerain. Young Swords, youth wing leader dead after terror attack. Oh, goody. Local young... Oh, wait, no, shit, there was a Young Swords thing going on. Local Young Swords youth wing leader in Suzerain, Jacques Touren, has claimed responsibility for the organized attack in the Bludish market that resulted in the death of 7. His base of operations has been raided, and he was found dead inside with 2 bullet wounds in the back of the head. I thought Brain was just like, yeah, he did suicide up here, but then I'm like, wait, how do you shoot yourself in the back of the head? The scene was organized to make it look like a suicide in the back of the head. We were not able to get information about the location of the other ringleaders connected to the terrorist attack. So yeah, that was clearly staged. Got nothing going on in these places here. Alright, what do we got in Suzerain? Illegal KA-74s seized. Cool. A cache found in the Rumberg made weapons including 46 KA-74s, 2,854 bullets, 12 handguns, 27 grenades, and bomb-making equipment. My fucking god. Was found in the basement. That's a lot in a single basement. An abandoned house, and no suspects have been detained yet. The investigation is ongoing to determine the origins of the equipment. Lots of stuff coming out of Bergia right now. I don't got anything coming out of there right quick yet. Okay, we got Narble here. What do you got, Narble? Read the report from Narble. Police understaffed. Oh, interesting. Narble has reported that it is currently too understaffed to deal with the ongoing political violence. Due to the small size of the police... Due to the small size of the police force in the city, they've been working non-stop, and a number of officers were sent to the hospital as a result of severe fatigue. Minister of the Interior... Wow, I got hiccups all of a sudden. Excuse me. Alright, so... Narble, understaffed police. Cool. So what's my campaign promise here? Unity, made promise. We need unity. Fix economy, fix education. Those are the two things we got to work on here. Police force, not my biggest concern. Estord. Estord! Go to Estord. What do we got in Estord? Nothing yet. Sarna, Sword, Balance and Arvery. Arvery has more violence. Alright, what do we got going on here? So, we've been receiving reports of the lack of equipment and staff from the police forces in Estord. Oh, gotcha. I've had very specific... Oh, whoops. Hang on, I've made an error in judgment here. Nargis? I forgot I categorized them. Alright, which is to say that this would go up in Bergia. I believe. Actually, hang on. I think so? I'll check in a moment. Been receiving reports of a lack of equipment and staff from the police. Oh, you know what? This is this region. Escalating violence in the city. The officers have been working 12-hour shifts to suppress the protest to no avail. Police Commissioner of Estord has requested reinforcements and extra supplies of tear gas from nearby cities. Ooh, they got rioting in Estord. So this is Nargis, which is here, not there. So hey, you know what? Still going on. And then space. Estord. Major rioting. Okay. Alright, what other reports? God, there's so many reports. I don't think I've ever had anything in Grunny. Read the report from Volgan in Grunny. Communist Party leader suspected of bomb attack. Fucking why? So much political violence. 11:48 a.m., an unattended bag in front of the NFP office in Volgan was destroyed by the police on suspicions of bomb threat, which were then verified. Upon further inspections, the Communist Party leader of Volgan, Milt Hanu, has been arrested in connection to the incidents. NFP. Oh, National Front Party. Okay. I'm not going to put it down. Jen? Is that the name of the city in Holsword? Jen? That's a very interesting city name, my friend. Weapons seized. Wardrobe full of heavy military equipment has been seized. Regular place denied. Knowledge of the weapons. There's just weapons and violence all over. Illegal firearms found in the Communist Party. God, there's just violence everywhere. And where are my notes? Violence everywhere. After... What was it? Was it the attack? Police funding. Alright, here we go. Good. We good. What else is left? News reports. Then we go to Holsword. News reports. From everyone. Okay, the economists. The only way out of the recession, bailing out businesses. Sordland's economy has been displaying a downward trend over the past 2 years of Alfonso's presidency. If we want to prevent our country from declaring bankruptcy, we need a way out of the recession, and we need it now. The economic downturn keeps hitting hard at the businesses which are struggling to stay afloat. It is clear that a helping hand from the government is required to control the situation. There's no other way, apart from bailing out businesses, to truly provide relief to the economy. This in turn should revitalize the economy by creating more employment opportunities and increasing production in Sordland. Yeah. You want to make sure that businesses don't go under, because it doesn't matter what business it is. If the more go down, the worse things are. That's just a fact. Monopolies are straight up the worst. Okay, the Lockhaven Times. Murder was a method of the past. Tensions between the left and right extremists have increased in the country after the assassination of MP Bernard Serkis. Protests of malevolent groups quickly turned into riots around the country. We are calling for peaceful protests and dialogue instead of violence. After the attack that prompted the rioters, a member of the Young Swords Association, a member of Assembly, a member of the Young Swords assassinating a member of Assembly clearly shows that they are willing to use extreme actions, said Franz Richter in a speech in the Grand National Assembly. We live within these borders together, and therefore we all bear responsibility, a duty to live together with our differences. Richter's unifying message is something that we all should listen to in these times of danger of loss. That is what it says. The murder was a method of the past, and it has tainted us, reminded us of who we were before and who we don't want to become in the future, said Richter, and stated that we as the citizens of this nation all bear responsibility beyond ideologies, partisanship, or any other identity. Sordland today. God, these are getting longer and longer. Sordland has 2 paths to the future, and this year is critical to decide which path we embark upon. Amid a recession, the lack of stability and security caused by the death of Bernard Serkis is an unacceptable reality. We need more jobs and a safe atmosphere for our country is supposed to grow and prosper. But how will we increase our employment and open new factories if there is blood flowing down the streets? Sordland will never reach its goals as an advanced society if we descend in a downward spiral of a splintering of our nation. Peace and prosperity now and forever. I'm going to read the radical last. Oh, God. All right, feel free to skip this part. A Sordid poet and politician who had spoken out about the idea of the dictatorship of the proletariat was shot during an event of Anton Rayne's inauguration ball. Bernard Serkis, a 53-year-old Sordid member of Assembly, was shot a number of times by a gunman at the entrance of the Maroon Palace, who was identified by to be a member of the Young Swords. Despite his radical views, Mr. Serkis was elected to be an independent member of Assembly in the 1953 elections and sadly did not manage to live long enough to serve his duty. He was said to have repeatedly received threats from Sordish nationalists who viewed him as a traitor for promoting millennialism in Sordland. Television footage showed the famous poet's body laying face down, draped with a white sheet, on the pavement in front of the gates of the Maroon Palace. Lilias Graf, the Interior Minister, said she had assigned a group of leading ministry officials to lead the hunt for the killers. Once again, dark hands have chosen our country and spilled blood in Holsword to achieve their dark goals, she told the news conference. We're investigating all aspects of this crime. His funeral will be held tomorrow in his home city, Dare. The local police have reported to have increased security measures for the ceremony and stand ready for a massive attendance. Farewell, Bernard Serkis. It is a sad moment for Sordland. We have lost a renowned poet who not only wrote about the struggles of the working class, but also acted on them. However, his discretion to enter Sordish politics was met with a sick attack that ended his life. This was indeed intended as a message to all opposing voices in Sordland. We, the team here at The Radical, condemn this evil act of terror of the Young Swords, who we believe must be held accountable as a whole group. It is finally time for the government to realize this organization as a terrorist threat and serve the justice that is due. Bernard Circus is always going to be in our hearts as a young Swordish poet, as a revolutionary. As the leader of the Swordish avant-garde, as a futurist, as a romantic, as a that one, but beyond all, as a symbol of freedom of speech. He is now a man who was murdered for speaking his mind. This cannot remain as yet another political murder of the sad reality of Sordland. In fact, it's time to change this. It's time to speak up as people. The most beautiful sea hasn't been crossed yet, said the great poet, reminding us to always have hope. We must strive to have hope and make them a reality. It is the best way to honor his memory. Bernard Circus will be laid down in Dare tomorrow, and a citizen who wants to pay respect is invited to attend. Alright, very wholesome, all things considered. And finally, the last thing to do at this moment, check on Holsword. Oh, there's a lot of things to do. Read a report from Holsword. Reports of BFF activity in the capital. The chief of police, Carl Grazer, reports that 2 Blutish women with affiliations with the Blutish Freedom Front, or the BFF, have been caught in Holsword before they could execute a terror attack at a crowded rally. Both women are listed as wanted criminals and enemies of the state. The arrested women have admitted their intentions to attack the National Front Party rally at Seoul Square with Kesaro Kibiner gave his speech, but rejected any connections to the BFF. Both claimed that they were acting alone. Police reports that the situation is under control. Further investigations are underway. If you say so. Alright, so we got a residence of the president of Sordland. Dinner with the family at home. Security briefing on the threats against Sordland. Alright, so this is what everything we've just read is leading up to. Everyone thinks we should put money towards the military. And, well, not military, but like the policing, stricter border, all these sorts of things. Everyone wants it, apparently. I arrived in front of the doors leading to the situation room. It's a pretty cool sounding room. Today's security briefing was arranged in 2 parts, starting with internal matters and moving on to the external matters after a short break. Internal is more important anyway. The Minister of the Interior, Lilias Graf, and the Minister of Justice and Law, Nia Mordna, would join us for the first part, the law enforcement briefing. For the second part, the Minister of Defense, Losef Lancia, would join with a few high-ranking officials, including the Chief of the Armed Forces, Vulcan Kruger. I forget everyone's voices other than this guy because I love his voice. I opened the door. Lucian, Nia, and Lilias rose from their seats. Sir, please take your seats. Everyone in the room sat down except for Lucian. He put on his glasses and went through the documents in front of him. Shortly after, he raised his head to address the attendees. Yeah, Lucian is fucking on top of everything always. Mr. President, ladies, we will kick off today's meeting with the internal security briefing. I'm assuming everyone has already been over the agenda. We all have busy schedules. So without further ado, I will jump into our first topic. As we feared, the political atmosphere has worsened. You had a slightly softer voice than her, I think. The reports around the country indicate the tensions are rising as we feared. What is the status of the Bernard Circus investigation? I've received news this morning that the investigation into the murder of Bernard Circus has concluded. Great news. I'm eager to hear about the details. Please enlighten us. The more we know, the better. Yeah, I'm in situation mode. It's a situation room, after all. After further investigation and testimonies, we have confirmed the motive and also the events leading up to the shooting. A few days prior, members of the Red Youth initiated a violent attack on a Young Swords local leader in Jen. We believe the Young Swords then called for revenge, leading to the death of Mr. Circus. Since he often spoke against the Young Swords and nationalist sentiments in the assembly, he was a big target, not to mention his radical communist views. Political violence needs to stop. He had it coming then. Radical, Sordland just lost a great writer for what? Red Youth is clearly to blame since they triggered it. Okay, alright, so we got the Young Swords and the Red Youth. The Red Youth initiated a violent attack on a Young Swords local leader in Jen. The Young Swords then called for revenge. Alright, so the Red Youth sounded like they started it. Okay. So I'm leaning for maybe 1, definitely not 2 or 3. I think I'll hold on 4 right now. I'm clear emotionally. I'm distraught. So I'm going to be a little more radical in my speech at the moment. They struck first. Yes, it was obvious that there would be a retaliation. Lilius handed over the report and pointed at a highlighted section in the document. The investigation revealed a very troubling fact. The funding sources of the Red Youth have a clear link to United Contana. All right, the Russia of this world. This is the proof that they were meddling in our. Are you certain about this? Are you absolutely, completely, absolutely certain? Sorry, I didn't have a third synonym. Yes, we have found the cash trail. Several Red Youth members with ties to the United Cantana have been detained, and the information extracted from them points to a preparation for a communist uprising in Sordland. It isn't unusual for the superpowers to influence other nations, but I think this case is a little far-fetched. The left lacks popular support in Sordland. Nia eagerly lifted her hand, motioning for her to speak. I went over the report in detail. It would be wrong to jump to conclusions about a clear foreign interference yet. United Cantana has humanitarian and cultural ties with many countries, including Sordland. I trust Miss Graff's judgment. Oh, yeah. United Cantana is clearly trying to expand its influence. I also don't want to jump to conclusions immediately. We should create a crisis. We shouldn't create a crisis with them. Yeah, the last thing you want to do is poke the bear. You know, the big red bear that's looming over all of us. Nearly 3 decades ago, they funded General Ricard and tried to establish a communist dictatorship in our country. If it was not for Colonel Sol, we would have seen the real crisis. He takes a sip for a glass of water and continued. Our police chief, Carl Grazer, has linked the funding channel to the United Cantana Consulate in Benfi. Vitality, renown, geographically. The situation, oh, okay, alright. Go to location. Yeah, right there. As we all know, the enemies of Sordland are many, but we also have threats inside the country. You need to remain vigilant. As a government, we have all the power to deal with any threat. Our country has always had issues as part of our job. No, I don't want to sound defeatist, you know. As the government, we have all the power to deal with any threat. If we give up essential freedoms to purchase temporary security, we deserve neither freedoms nor security. This is debatable, but yes, we know what more security and surveillance caused to this country under President Sol. Let's not forget that President Sol, God bless him, brought stability after a long period of bloodshed and chaos. We're moving on. Our highest internal threat comes from the estimated 20,000-strong Bludish Freedom Front, led by the imprisoned Dulan Arge, who was political, according to the same sources, was born in a border village between Welland and Sordland. Followed the monarchy, he joined the Young Wing. After the war, he started working in... He's a simple merchant. Okay, nice merchant. Not liking what I'm reading. Okay, overall. They're a banned political organization, now a militant force that is trying to incite racial violence. They make a lot of noise but have little substance. A barking dog doesn't bite. That's wrong. Are they supposed to be our Bludish citizens? Are they supported by our Bludish citizens? Are they cooperating with any Bludish political organizations? Are they supported by our citizens? All right, we gotta think about the country, not about the politics. To some extent, luckily they couldn't attract a wide audience of Bloods, but they could potentially attract thousands of anti-Bludish sentiment spreads in Sordland again. Lilius pointed to the page 3 in the report. Our intelligence intercepted 2 crates filled with weapons close to the Rumberg border. Ah, up there. Gotcha. They are filled with military-grade Ka-74s. We expect that more have been smuggled in since a group of Bloods were caught with these guns at a checkpoint, not far away. Rolenberg has been acting aggressively in the region for a long time, and I'm not surprised that they would attempt to weaponize the Bloodish people against us. This is worrying. Very worrying. Can we make any direct correlations to blame Rolenberg? It was expected that Rolenberg would undermine us, but this is too far. We need to keep level-headed with Rolenberg. They are looking for reasons to take action. We can't let anyone meddle with our internal stability. Now, this obviously sounds like the best option right out the gate. But I'm leaning to 3, right? Like, we don't want to essentially give our enemies incentive or, like, even justification for doing fucking anything. I've always been of that mindset. They're looking for reasons to take action. Our stability is very important. Our security services are doing the best to prevent further attempts. This is grave news, but we must be careful not to stoke the fires of anti-Bloodish sentiment. What is the second most important threat? It is the gang violence that is threatening the Nargis and England regions. 2 prominent organized crime families are at war, and the potential for bloodshed is real. Which 2 crime families? Why can't we just arrest them? I don't think mere gangs can pose a threat to us. Oh, they definitely are, apparently. Which 2 crime families? One is known as the Coronelli, notorious criminal organizations in Sordland. Cartel dating back to the 1880s. Yeesh, that was a while ago. Around Nargis and England. It's been a fighting organization with dedicated but results. Okay. And the other is the Skinner Cartel. It received its name from the trade since 1910s. Hasn't been getting along with the cartel. Two cartels are not doing good right now. They used to be allies until a recent disagreement, but are active in cities of Narvel and Estor. They're playing with fire. I want them gone for good. Lilius, I trust you. I trust that you can handle them. They're insignificant, not worth our attention. I trust that you can handle them. I am doing my best, sir. Sigh deeply. I shall be honest with you. With our current capabilities, we may not be able to prevent further arming of separatists while maintaining order in Bergia, Nargis, and England. If the law enforcement budget isn't increased, I can't be fully responsible for what happens. Our police units are spread thin as it is. In light of this information, I might increase the law enforcement budget. You will do your job, whatever happens. Don't come to me with excuses. I can be a hard ass. I can definitely do that. I am under stress right now. In light of this information, I might increase the law enforcement budget. This is a major decision here, because it's a case of everyone will be like, oh, he's just reacting to blah, 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 this and that. But it's very real threats that we're reacting to. Like, we can't just, I don't want to become President Sol, ex-President Sol, Mr. Sol. I don't want to do that. But also, we got so much shit going on. You'll rid our country from separatists and violent thugs if you do so. I wish you would stop with the words thugs, Lilius. The real problem is corruption, which is fueling the gang violence and is very likely the reason why these weapons are smuggled in. A higher budget could help us end that. Valid points. Corruption is the root of all evil, after all. Your ministry must tackle the issue with persistence, Miss Morgna. These threats seem more direct than a few bribes. I feel like it's a case of, like, yeah, it's corruption, yeah, but, like, it's corruption versus, and it starts there, and then it ends with them killing each other, which is just a bad thing. Valid points. Corruption is the root of all evil, after all. We can look into corruption once the weapons have been found and the gangs have been beaten. Just like previous administrations, kicking the can down the road, this is what's destroying our institutions. Lilius and Nia were openly scowling at each other. Lilius turned back to her notes. Well, this concludes the topics for internal portion. Thank you for the updates, Miss Graf, Miss Morgna. Thank you for the overview. Have a good day. Until next time. The two ministers left the room. We took a short break before continuing to the second part. I do not remember these guys' voices at all. I'll do my best. It's going to be different. Upon invitation, Losef Lancia among the three high-ranking officials from the Ministry of Defense walked into the room. One of the men was none other than General Kruger, the chief of the armed forces. Losef made his way towards the table while the others stood by the door. Mr. President. Mr. President. Losef, welcome. I brought General Kruger with me due to the escalations on her borders. General Kruger stepped forward and saluted. Oh, I meant to click on that. Sword is 4-star general. Yeah, this is the dude. This is the dude. Alright, so, let's see here. Had a strong jaw and sharp cheekbones. His tall stature, uniform, and medals combined with a deep and intense stare made him look threatening. Well, yeah, you gotta be, right? He was in his 70s, yet he had a bulky body that was a result of his commando training. Not only was he the second most decorated officer in Sordland, he was also the longest serving. General Kruger? Mr. President, it is an honor. Losef tapped his foot impatiently. He seemed uneasy with the presence of another high-ranking officer in the room. Gentlemen, thanks for coming to this significant gathering. Let's begin. Vulcan take their seats at the table while the rest of the officers stood by the door. Losef Mr. President, the situation at the western and northern borders towards Rumburg is very tense. We're observing deployments of divisions closer to our border. Rumburg has been acting increasingly expansionist in the past decades and also interfered with Agnolia, but now they have turned their sights to us. I trust the capability of our armed forces to handle any threats. This concerns me very much. We're observing these areas actively. Our contingency plans are ready. It seems like they want to increase the pressure both externally and internally. Mr. President, if I may. Please, General. The picture's becoming clearer. The latest information from the interior about weapon caches, and now there's an active military buildup close to our borders. The entire situation was analyzed by our general staff, and prediction is a future territorial incursion by Rumburg. We have complete trust in the general staff. The threat is exaggerated. Let them come, we will give them hell. I have complete trust in the general staff. We will not let you down, Mr. President. The general staff is composed of the smartest military individuals. I require an increase in the military budget to enlist more soldiers. Only then we can stand strong against our enemies. The enlarged armed forces will hold them at bay. Vulcan is right. We do need an increase in the military budget, although we don't see eye to eye on exactly how to spend the budget. That much we agree on. I have my concerns about the Rumburg too. We need strong allies to withstand such a superior power. They are a nemesis. That is an understatement. Times are changing and war is coming. Mr. President, whether we like it or not, we must be prepared. During the election, you said nothing about focusing on our military. I ask you to reconsider and to increase the military budget. Ooh, our budget is sitting not the best. The future and safety of Sordland is in your hands. I'm a man of my word, Losef. Maybe you are right. Defense of our nation is more important. As you said, times change, Losef. We will see. Ooh, that's interesting. Because I gotta work on the economy. I gotta work on the education. Education was the actual promise that I made. Fix economy, fix education. Education is the one thing I said I'd work on. Maybe not had a chance to do that yet. I'm a man of my word, Losef. Maybe you're right, defense of our nation is more important. As you said, times change, Losef, we will see. I'm gonna be aloof at the moment. I'm not gonna straight up deny, but I'm not gonna go along with it either. A smile brought a glimmer of hope on Losef's face. Our forces will crumble under a decrease, and Rumburg would be much more compelled to exploit our weakness. Our country hasn't fallen to any invading force for 200 years. We cannot let it happen, Mr. President. We should find regional allies like Volksland and Lesbia to deter Rumburg. There are several options on the table. Rumburg wouldn't attack any nation allied with any superpower. Interesting. Yeah, we got this. Go to location. Across the sea. And then Lesbia, go to location south of us. Must stand on its own 2 feet and be able to defend itself. These options should be considered. Wouldn't attack any nation allied with any superpower. So is that to say we should ally with a superpower? Must stand on its own 2 feet and be able to defend itself. These options should be considered. Honestly, we should consider these things. They could be considered, but why ponder to others? Why pander to others when we can solve these issues ourselves? We have no true friends outside these borders. Everyone fell silent when a soldier entered the room and let Losef Valencia know that a call had come through from the ministry. Excuse me, Mr. President. Losef left the room to answer. A few minutes later, he entered the room again. His expression had changed. Mr. President, there has been Rumburgian military activity close to the Narbel border. Not a fan of that. I just spoke with a local commander. Vulcan, we should go to the ministry and get further updates from our branches. Understood. Raising military readiness is the first call of action. If there is truly an extraordinary attempt, we will relay it to you immediately and await further orders, Mr. President. Make sure they know we are observant and ready. Go and show them the might of the Swedish Allied armed forces. Your service is appreciated, gentlemen. Remain calm. Make sure not to escalate things further. Nobody wants a war. Remain calm. Do not escalate further. We don't want a war. We will exercise utmost caution, Mr. President. Hail Sordland. Hail. They saluted and left the room. Rumburg is already testing us, and the reports from the interior indicate interference inside our borders. Communists, nationalists, Blutist rebels, Rumburg expansionism. What was next? Sordland has always been a key piece in the chessboard of the global rivalry between Arcasia and the United Cortana. But in recent years, there was no such aggression from Rumburg. Not at these levels, at least. All it takes is one tiny spark to start the flames of war. The phone rang. Rumburg had decided to close their consulate in Lockhaven. Oh, that's always a bad sign. Always the worst possible sign. Alright, what do we got going on here? BFF ban. Alright, so order. State security privileges. Oh, no. Nationwide revolt. Yeah, this is bad. Happening across the country. And then diplomacy. Diplomatic pressure. Under noticeable pressure from Rumburg through a reduction in diplomatic staff and the closure of a key consulate. Yeah, not good things going. Yeah, you can read the waters a little bit. You know, it's not a good thing. Rumburg is gonna declare war at some point. I'm not happy about it. Anyway, that'll be for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Of course, from Keywii, to yourself a delightful day. I love you all. Goodbye. Goodbye.